All right, my friends, it's Timon. We're back with a Blaha video. We're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, and gear slave himself, Blaha. So JasonBlaha says in this video, bro diet have the highest track record of success. So bro diets have the highest track records of success. Yeah, okay.
Bro diets have the greatest track record of success for body composition and fat loss of any diet approach in the world. Hey, everybody.
You mean the people taking steroids or people that are doing it naturally? They're going to have a very hard time.
It's JasonBlaha here. Thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. A quick reminder, if you guys will click the like button down below.
Anyways, does it matter? People naturally aren't even doing it properly, so does it really matter? I mean, seriously, come on, man. People don't know the difference between powerlifting, weightlifting, bodybuilding, and strongman. They think they're going to carry over their powerlifting to bodybuilding and it's going to work, and it never does. Like Blaha, he's so stubborn, he's adamant. Eventually it'll work in 100 years. If I just ass cheek squeeze my muscles hard enough, eventually I'll prove that ass cheek squeezing works in bodybuilding, when bodybuilding is really only based on building your body, which is based on eccentric exercise, because that's what builds muscles, hypertrophy, and strength. Man.
If you are not following or subscribed, please do so.
You know, I don't think that these so-called power lifter people who stole that from bodybuilding, they can't fathom that bodybuilding is a much more sophisticated modality to making you big and strong. Now, powerlifting doesn't make you big, makes you better at lifting against gravity, but it does not make you stronger, and it doesn't make you physically inclined to be good at sports. It is not a carryover to sports.
And if you guys would please leave me a comment under here, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get over to the topic.
Just look at Blaha. Does he look like he has a very sportive physique? He looks athletic. Does he look athletic to you?
And when I say this, I'm not saying other approaches don't work. I'm not saying people haven't used flexible dieting. I'm not saying people haven't used more balanced splits.
The one thing the one thing about I Am Longevity, he definitely is a skinny dude. He's a very light, small, skinny dude. But yeah, even if he is on TRT and Blaha's on TRT, he can outperform him athletically. That I definitely know, because they're both on TRT. So Blaha has no athleticism. He has no talent other than, I don't know, he can do this, go down with a weight up and down.
Even more fat in there, or even lower carb or ketogenic type diets to lose body fat. Look,
ketogenic diets to lose body fat. You have to do all these phony things to try to get to your destination. You know, you have to go through all these routes to get to your destination, and you never make it there, really. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you made it there, but you took a longer route or whatever, a phony route to get there.
A lot of approaches that work, but I think what people have to be aware of, and again,
I like this. A lot of approaches work. A lot of approaches work. Yeah, they can all work in the beginning. They stop working. One approach will work all the time. Just eat your natural diet, man. Natural food as a human.
And everyone who promotes any of these fad diets forgets this every single.
I love this. Fad diets. Yeah, anything that you eat that is outside of eating animal products is considered a diet. It's considered behavior. You understand me? It's considered behavior. Even these war criminals, when they were hungry in these camps, what did they eat? Grass. And they said it was hard to digest. But they ate grass because they were starving.
Time. And it is really a problem for them. So like if someone is a vegan, or if someone is
if your bath has seen a lot of life,
and it is really a problem for them. So like if someone is a vegan, or if someone is a carnivore, or someone's promoting, extreme keto is the only.
Again, there's no such thing as a carnivore. I don't know what he's talking about. Vegan, that's something you made up. That's something fake. Carnivore is what human beings are. Whatever, man. Ketogenic is fake too. It's fake, made up by man.
way. They
None
have
of these things vegan doesn't exist in nature, and ketogenic doesn't exist in nature. But as a carnivore animal, we exist in nature as carnivore animals. See? So it's not a diet. There you go.
problem. They've got a major problem is that the traditional bodybuilder bro diet says that they are wrong, and it's produced way, way, way more jacked and shredded, absolutely shredded.
No, it hasn't. What it did was people took steroids to produce that look cosmetically. That's what they did. That's what Blaha's leaving out. He's not telling you they took steroids. Has nothing to do with what they ate.
Individuals in any other dietary approach.
Because if that's true, why is that not working for you? See what I mean?
On the face of the earth. So this is a problem for people who are looking at other approaches.
Yes, this is a problem for people looking at steroid people injecting and thinking that that diet created that body.
And it's not saying their approaches can't work, but it's like statistically speaking,
Sure.
we know what's produced the best physiques.
We know what will produce artificial physiques, steroids, plant genetics. You inject these plant genetics and it changes you temporarily.
Best physiques, we mean lean muscle, low body fat.
Lean muscle, low body fat. Lean muscle, low body fat. How does muscle get lean? Maybe you should stop eating grains. They marbleize muscle and these grain-fed cows. So then you'll have some lean muscle. They won't be fat anymore. And low body fat, yes. Well, I was born with low body fat. I don't know. I was a skinny kid. I guess you could call it skinny kid. I wasn't really skinny per se. I was healthy, but I had very low body fat.
Okay, and that has been this approach, and it's not unreasonable that, again, the cultures around the world who tend to have low rates of obesity, low rates of diabetes, have similar eating patterns. So again, what do we mean by bro diet? Bro diet, and
Yeah, what do we
it's
mean?
typically thought of as, look, chicken, rice, broccoli, okay?
So that's what we mean by a bro diet. Chicken, rice, and broccoli. So rice with arsenic, broccoli with sulforaphane, a bunch of toxins in it. And rice, just sugar and arsenic. Okay. The best part is the meat. All right. And it too is probably overcooked.
That approach.
Oh, well, it is overcooked because it's chicken, right? He said chicken. Chicken's like the lowest on the scale, chicken, bro. It's like garbage meat, garbage bird. Could he have at least said a steak? It's usually steak and potatoes, right? But in Blaha's world, it's chicken, rice, and broccoli, like the worst of the worst.
Right. Am I saying it has to be those specific foods? No, but that is a standard approach, or chicken, rice, vegetables. But here's the idea. All right, and this works consistently. It's almost always a lean animal protein, right? Lean protein, animal source. All right. So sorry, vegans, you guys lose here, and we know why you lose. The data supports this.
Yeah.
You guys can't compete with this. You can't, flat out. The research shows it. All right, a lean animal protein with calorie control coming from starchy carbohydrates, okay, and then lots of vegetables, okay.
Starchy and lots of vegetables. And you need these vegetables. Why exactly? Why?
Now, fruits can also be employed here also, but what do we usually see? What is the general success?
They will hinder your muscle growth. That's what they'll do. If you're building muscle, they'll hinder it. But the majority of people are not building muscle out there because what triggers protein synthesis? Micro damage. No micro damage, no protein synthesis. And even if the damage is minute, most likely your body will forego the what do you call it, remodeling stage, and it'll just repair it, and that's it. So there's a lot of people going to the gym They're causing very low level damage, but that damage is just repairable. Like hypoxia, oxidative stress, and maybe there's some micro damage, but it's so minute on a scale that it's not even worth remodeling. In other words, it's not worth remodeling because you're lifting concentrically 80% of your max. So your muscle just says, hey, we don't need to compensate here. So it just keeps repairing it. So you go to the gym, you cause low level damage, and it just keeps repairing and repairing and repairing. And there's no growth. That's why people see no growth. And if anything, they're getting smaller too.
Full approach here. Fairly low fat. Any fats that you eat are healthy fats if they're included.
It's like Blaha. He's got hypoxia, some oxidative and hypoxia damage there. Lifting every day in the gym here, and he's just making sure that his muscles don't grow by constantly lifting, especially concentrically, keeping his muscles small and compact.
At all. Animal source protein being a major staple, and then again, the starchy carbohydrates are your main calorie control. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So why is this so successful? Well, for obvious reasons. Where do we gain all of the body fat on our body? It all comes from dietary fat. You can convert some carbohydrate in relatively limited quantities to visceral fat around your organs. The data at this point, as science has gotten better and better and better at measuring.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Visceral fat around your especially your belly area. Yes.
Humans do not store carbohydrates as subcutaneous fat under any conditions that have been found. Okay.
Yes, that subcutaneous fat, man. It really can hinder you. Definitely. Yes. Yes, Blaha.
Conditions that have been found. Okay. Including carbohydrate overfeeding, studies looking.
Carbohydrate overfeeding. Okay. Carnivore animals don't need to eat carbohydrates. They can get away with it. Well, it's not really, it's not recommended, especially after the age of 40. Definitely. I definitely advise you to stop doing that.
At all this, even carbon isotope testing shows you gain zero body fat under your skin from carbohydrates. We cannot get it to occur in a human in the lab, even when they try.
It depends, man. It's spiking insulin is what it's doing. Yeah. It's spiking insulin and causing whatever it is you're eating there, the fat that you're eating there, to become fat. The simple carbs, the complex carbs, will load in your muscle.
It doesn't happen. So if it doesn't happen, then you can kind of see why this approach works really, really well. It helps keep people lean because their dietary fat is kept fairly low.
It helps people. You're spiking insulin, though, bro. There's a window there to get fat. What are you talking about? Depends what you're eating.
And if any fat is eaten, it tends to be healthy fats that tend to promote insulin.
If any fat is eaten, it's healthy fats. What are considered healthy fats to you, Blaha? If you're asking me, animal fats are healthy. Anything outside of that is unhealthy for you.
Sensitivity. So again, we come over to what's going on with that. Insulin sensitivity is your friend. All right.
Insulin sensitivity is your friend. It is your friend. But you just said eating carbs, and carbs spike your insulin and make you insulin resistant. That's how you get fat.
If you're trying to gain muscle or lose fat, keeping insulin sensitivity high is a benefit to you. But they're eating insulinogenic foods, and people say, well, I don't understand. Well, because when
but you're also eating estrogenic food. These plants they're filled with estrogens. They feminize you. These foods, they feminize you. And lifting heavy concentrically feminizes you. It feminizes you.
Weights and you're gaining muscle, insulinogenic foods or anabolic insulin is beneficial to you.
Not if it makes you insulin resistant, Blaha.
a healthy, functioning, metabolic human being. So if we're lifting weights and training, we're pushing the body in that direction. Insulin becomes your friend.
What would you call these dips that you're doing there, Blaha? Would you call them concentric dips? Because that's what they look like, concentric dips. Keeping your muscles short so they don't grow? Is that it? Is that the idea? All right.
At that point, it's not a negative.
It's working.
And in fact, your body tends to produce way less of it. So if your foods are giving you some, it is feeding your muscle tissue. That is where it is going. Okay, so
Well, people exercise, and then there's a window there. It says, insulin sensitive. Well, why is it sensitive? Because it needs to restore whatever proteins you just broke down. If you broke down some proteins, it'll just restore them. You know what I mean? Depends what you're doing there. I don't know.
this sort of approach works really, really well. And the same thing with all of the carbohydrate there fuels training. So people who are chasing body composition are usually doing moderately to high volumes of resistance training. Right? Carbohydrates fuel this. They fuel glycogen stores. Glycogen stores are beneficial for us having a higher energy turnover, a higher metabolic rate.
They do they?
Full muscle tissue. So creating an anabolic environment in the muscle tissue, both in terms of recovery, all of these things. And then, of course, there's always
An anabolic environment, yes. How do you do that exactly?
focus on lean protein. So the animal source protein, this is, again, what we need for anabolic
Animal source protein. That's what we need for anabolic what?
signaling in the muscle tissue. This is what our muscle
Anabolic signaling in muscle tissue. Okay. It's going to be anabolic signaling in muscle tissue when you eat animal products. Okay, yeah, okay.
tissue is built out of. But it's not that we're using that much to build it. It's that the protein itself tends to be protein sparing. So in other words, it's muscle
Oh, it's protein sparing. Yes, okay.
sparing.
Yes.
So it tends to protect muscle tissue during exertion, during training, even during
Oh, it does do that, does it? Oh, okay. Protects muscle, yes.
is where calories are reduced. In addition to it, some of the specific
Well, your muscle's really protected by a lot of glycogen stores and fat. So before the muscle ever goes, those are going to go. So yeah, it's really protected, yeah.
amino acids in there, when they're put in different combinations, produce anabolic signaling to
Amino acids in there producing metabolic signaling. Yeah, okay, anabolic signaling, yeah.
signal muscle tissue to speed up muscle protein synthesis. And animal source proteins tend to
Speed
have
up muscle protein synthesis, but muscle protein synthesis is triggered by micro damage. Yeah. It's triggered by micro damage. That's what it is. Now there could be, like I said, very low level of micro damage. It just repairs. There's just a constant repair, but there's no remodeling because it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to remodel. It needs a very heavy stimuli to remodel, and that's not easy to achieve to get to that goal. The only way you can get to that goal is lifting astronomically heavy in the eccentric. That is the only way that you could build muscle. If you lift conventionally with your regular set rep routine, you'll never get there. Now, you can get there with an overworking of that muscle, lifting 80% of your max in a full range of motion. You could get to a level, but you can only get so far. It'll only go so far. That's all. It's minute. But the only way to ever get there, like really get there, as far as you could get, is lifting eccentrically. Heavy loads eccentrically. You need a very heavy stimuli, and only eccentric can do that. Concentric cannot do that because in a full range of motion, or concentric because eccentric is constrained by the concentric. So it can only happen eccentrically when it's not constrained by concentric.
the best ratios of these. Okay, so what we're looking at is certain things like, total content of branched chain amino acids, for example, in the context of a complete amino acid profile. Okay, so when you just add them on their own, they don't actually help. But when they're part of that matrix, yeah, we get superior anabolic signaling. This leads to better muscle protein synthesis.
You get superior anabolic signaling, this protein synthesis, okay.
And then, of course, with this sort of diet, you fill in all your micronutrients with lots of vegetables. They then help us
Micronutrients with lots of vegetables, we get enough in meat. There's enough there. There's no deficiency in there. We don't need these toxic vegetables that are anti-nutrient.
They help with controlling.
It's hard enough building muscle as it is. That's all you need are these things that are anti-nutrient. Believe me, you're going to learn the hard way. You want to stay away from that stuff.
The blood sugar response from the starchy carbohydrates to some extent.
Let me tell you something. All those things you're eating, these artificial foods, they'll come back to haunt you. You'll deteriorate faster than you're aging. You'll look like a mummy when you're not really supposed to. You're supposed to look young, like you were when you were 25, 30, okay? You're not supposed to look any older than you're 30, even in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. You're not supposed to look older than 30. You understand me? So what's causing the deterioration? Your diet. You're eating poison all day. It's kind of obvious. You're poisoning your cells. What happens to a cell when it gets poisoned? What do you think happens to it? When they put these foods that Blaha's talking about in petri dishes, you know what the cells did? Flight or fight. They ran away. They ran away. That's what they do. They try to hide and run away because it's poison, dude. Get it? And then eventually they get overwhelmed anyways. It doesn't matter because there's only so many places they can hide in your body, these cells. And yeah, when they had meat, when they put meat in these nutrients, high nutrients like meat in a petri dish, all the cells, they gravitated towards it. They didn't run away from it. They gravitated towards it. So you see the difference? It's kind of obvious.
Balanced level.
Everything in this world has self-protection. It self-protects itself. But your body, it can only protect itself so much from this poison that you're eating every day, poisoning your body. Because you're eating for taste, because it's tasty.
Blood sugar levels, and then of course we get all the wonderful antioxidants and phytonutrients and things from a diet like
Again, like I said, it's based on addiction. Your diet, your so-called phony behavior diet, your behavior is based on addiction. You can't stop the addiction, and so you're like a drug addict. And so if you've seen hardcore drug addicts, that's the way you look eventually, like the hardcore drug addicts. Like the life has been sucked out of them. It happens quicker in them, but it happens quite quickly too in the regular population. You see it when they walk around. Some people even look more deteriorated than other people. And you're like, what happened to these people? They look so diminished. When I walk around and I sit down, there are people my age, and they look at me and they're like, yeah, even this guy where I live and the wife, and they were sitting down on this bench and they were talking to me and they go, yeah, my wife even said, she says, you look so young. Like they go, you look so young. Well, they're comparing themselves to me. They're looking at themselves and looking at me, and they're seeing themselves as deteriorated, aged. You know what I mean? And I told them, I don't eat any of those things. I just eat animal products because I want to stop the deterioration and reverse a lot of what I did, the damage that I did to myself eating the slave food diet. See what I mean? It's something you want to do. If you don't want to do that, then suffer and don't complain why you look diminished. See what I mean? You're the culprit.
with lots of vegetables,
Like
which
Blaha.
facilitate.
Look at Blaha. He's his own worst enemy. He's destroyed himself. Look at him. He's destroying himself. It's crazy.
It's better recovery from training. Better recovery from training. We have higher energy outputs. Okay, better muscle growth, and therefore our metabolic rate keeps going up. So this sort of dietary approach, what it ends up doing is pushing your metabolic rate and metabolic efficiency really, really high. And this is why it works just in general for losing body fat. You gain less body fat when you overeat. You lose body fat easily. Your metabolic rate is very high. It works.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, Blaha. It works. Does he not look silly here? He's really silly. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. You don't want to increase your metabolic rate. The more you increase it, the shorter your lifespan.